Welcome to the Sun and Moon Yoga Studio daily live stream practice. I am Annie Moyer, and today is Monday, November 2nd. One day more to the election that has been highly anticipated and hotly contested. And knowing that the stakes are so very high for all of us right now is an opportunity, a moment for this practice so profoundly important. So when I'm saying one day more to the election, this is assuming that you are seeing this on Monday morning, November 2nd, 2020. But let's say, just for argument's sake, that it's July, 24th, 2023, and you happen to be going through some archive videos and you find this and you think, one day more to what, right? So, because this particular day, November 2nd, 2020, is one day more to the election of 2020, it feels big, it feels important, and we know that that it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to be great and fine after the one day more. We just know that this particular cycle will have come to its completion, and then a next one will have started. So if you're in the future seeing this, mid-July 2023, all of the principles apply. It's one day more to the cycle that was that day, and then tomorrow will be another cycle. And every cycle, every shifting of time and turning of the sand underneath our feet and the tide that rolls in and rolls back out is a change, is a chance to be present, to recognize the impermanence of every single situation, relatively speaking, and the new compulsion to be here for whatever is coming up. That's the thing. That's the work. And it doesn't mean that we're supposed to be okay with things all the time. Things are not okay all the time. Right now, things are not okay really at all. However, in the space of a moment, an inhale and an exhale, we must simply do what is within our power to make it tenable. And sometimes that's just finding the steady ground underneath, taking a breath, and being okay inside of a little space of time. That's it. So, as we are on the brink of a shift in a big cycle here in November of 2020, let's do a little restorative practice. If you can, pile up some blankets or some pillows, and we're going to start with a supported back bend. So I am sitting in the middle of this stack of blankets, and you stretch your legs out like I'm doing and put a little lift under your feet. I'm using blocks. You can use anything. You can use some furniture, some low stools, or some books piled up. And then just very gently lie back. And we want the shoulders to hang off of the back edge of the blanket and reach the floor. So I've got a little space under my shoulders here, and I want my shoulders to be on the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the blocks closer to me so I can scoot back a little further, kick my heels up, lie back, drape the shoulders over the blankets, and then release my arms down. And so here I am in a supported back bend, and you see that this is a significant lift under my shoulders. You might not want that much lift, so you could use just one blanket or a a swishier pillow. And finding a deep breath, letting it in and letting it back out. And slowly observing as my body releases and submits to this shape and allows the support underneath to do the work. We only have 2 jobs here. The first job is to make sure there's no pain, to make sure we haven't created an unsafe environment for the body. And the second job is to be present for the breath as it rises and falls. And that's it. Slow and steady breath. Easy attention. Welcoming any pets who show up. And every once in a while, we check back in, make sure that there's no strain creeping in. Make sure there's no compression in the spine or overtaxing any muscles. A signature sign of a really great restorative practice is that you get into a shape and you feel like you could stay there all day. Or at least for 5 or so minutes. And isn't it interesting that 5 or so minutes of doing nothing can feel like a really long time? Easy breaths in and out. And then we'll gently make our way back up and out of this shape. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that if you have your head backwards below your heart, you don't want to do a quick roll to the side, neither do you want to jerk your head up. So my preferred way of coming out of something like this is bending the knees, put the feet on the floor, and then use your feet and your shoulders to walk yourself backwards until your head and your chest are level with each other. And then roll to the side and come up. Of whatever cushion or blanket you used for the back bend. Now we'll turn this into a support for a twist. So I've got my hip right up against the back edge of the stack, and I'm going to stack my knees one on top of the other, and then turn to face the blankets or the pillows, whatever you're using. Hands to the floor, press down into the floor and pull the floor towards you, and you might feel that this helps extend and traction the whole torso as you start to roll the belly and the chest down onto the blankets, and then turn your head to one side and rest. And breathe. Another way is to put your hands under your head And let the elbows drape down and rest on the floor. Slow, steady breaths. So the body does no work here. The mind attends only to two things. The ensuring that there's no pain present in the body, and attention to the breath. And I know that for many of us, we just want this election cycle to be over. We want this one day more to zoom by so we can just be done, and then tomorrow to zoom by so we can just be done and know what we're facing going forward. And I would suggest the possibility that what might be even more useful is just to sink into these quiet moments, to carve them out, to, rather than rush time by and contract it, that we expand and magnify it so we can get into these peaceful spaces that is possible, that are possible to create. And that's one of the gifts of restorative practice. Slow and steady, breathing in and breathing out. Right. So we're going to save the head for last to come out of this. Hands on the ground. As you press into your hands, round your spine, hang your head, and roll slowly back up. And to come out of it, turn your back to your stack of supports and then swivel so the knees come all the way around to the other side and you land on the other hip, and then spin the torso around so you're facing the blankets again to twist on the other side. Hands to the floor, press down, draw the floor towards you, and then lay the belly and the chest back down. And you can turn your head to one side or the other, whichever feels nice in your neck. Sometimes turning the head the opposite way of the knees feels really satisfying to deepen the twist all the way up to the very top of the spine. Steady breaths, easy flow in and out. You can play with which way you turn your head and how you support it or not with your hands. Sometimes rearranging a little bit is helpful. So you don't have to be stuck in one shape. Once you land, the options for modifying it are always available. It's your body. That's why we pay attention. Staying here just for another few breaths. Notice if there's any part of the body that has been reluctant to let go up until this moment. Just check in with the belly, with the hips, with the legs. Are the feet still trying to do something for you? Can you really, truly let everything melt? And then preparing to come up. Once again, remember to save the head for last. Plant the hands into the ground. Press down and create a rebound effect to roll the spine up slowly. Crawl the hands back and then gently raise the head back up. So now I'm going to spin around again, and this time coming to a position where I'm sitting in front of the blankets. Blankets are stacked up behind my hips. And take the knees out wide. You can grab blocks or extra little pillows or anything you have available to support the legs as they drop out. So I've got the soles of my feet together, so my ankles are not crossed. The knees are wide enough to have the soles of the feet right up next to each other. And I'm sitting with the blankets behind my tailbone. And press up a little bit and add a little scoop of the tail underneath. And then I drape back onto the blankets. And I'm going to slide my hands underneath one or both blankets and insert a little speed bump under my neck so that it raises my head just a few degrees above my heart. My heart is just a few degrees above the pelvis. Another thing you can do here, if you've got two blankets or two pillows, is you can stagger them like a staircase. So the top one comes a little further back, and that just adds a nice gradual incline. Sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error to get it just right, and that's worth the effort. With the arms releasing out by your sides, find the breath. Check in, make sure there's ease in the body. Make sure there's a sense of easy melt, soft release, and space for breath to flow. And again, the hallmark of a really, really deep restorative practice is that you feel like you could stay all day. And if there ever was a day to stay, in an entirely supported, sweet, soft position. This would be the day, maybe tomorrow also, assuming you've already voted. This sort of self-care in these moments in time is just so very critical to our well-being. And it might feel indulgent to just lie here and do nothing, but I think it's the greatest form of productivity because it positions us so profoundly in strength and ease and power to do the necessary when we get back up. So we stay absolutely as long as necessary. It's like filling the tank, and that's why it's referred to as restorative work. So what are we restoring? Are we restoring optimism? Are we restoring courage to face whatever unfolds tomorrow and the next day and the next? Are we restoring faith in each other? Are we restoring a level of ease, reassurance, compassion, capacity for friendliness, patience? The choices are so many of what we can fill ourselves with here. We'll stay just a few minutes longer. Just knowing and being patient and understanding and forgiving of ourselves, knowing that it's so easy to get caught up in the anxiety and the fear. And we just return to the breath. The restorative practice is not about doing nothing in the end. It's about doing nothing right now so that we can then do what we need to do. Having been restored. So I could certainly stay here all day like this. However, duty calls. You are more than welcome to stay as you are. I'll invite 3 more long, steady breaths in and out. And gently, slowly wiggle fingers and toes and rotate wrists and ankles. And bring your knees together and then just stretch out your legs for a moment and put some props to the side. Take a big stretch, reaching the arms back up overhead. Inhale. And exhale, release the arms, bend the knees. And gently, carefully roll over onto one side. And bring yourself up to sit. And slowly reorient yourself to your space. And I wish you all peace and goodwill, and patience and ease over the next few days. Thank you so much for joining. Namaste.